welcome to the RSG podcast, episode 63. So BlizzCon's now over. Wrapped up yesterday. We had the virtual tickets, so we got to see a lot of stuff about it. Most of the podcast, well, actually the whole podcast tonight is going to be Blizzard-based.
We marathoned it.
Yeah.
Both days.
No sleep. Just there, notes, taking notes.
I think it was mostly...
We didn't even sleep when they stopped casting. We didn't sleep. We stayed up, stared at the blank screen, just waiting.
Waiting for BlizzCon 2016.
We have to stay awake till then.
Yeah.
I think it was worth it. I thought there was a lot of really great announcements, and I was pretty hyped about a lot of the stuff that they talked about. And I don't think they delivered on like every title they had. They delivered something brand new, but a lot of the titles are pretty cool. Have pretty cool stuff coming. So
yeah. Agreed.
Anyways, what do you guys want to talk about first?
Well, we didn't really get like Overwatch coming out.
Overwatch is brand new. They introduced a couple of new characters. It's currently in the beta right now. People are doing beta things. I don't think any of us are currently in the beta.
No, none of us are. They did hint at a bigger beta coming, but I think one of the bigger announcements they made is that it's coming to the consoles.
Yeah,
as well.
Both PlayStation 4 and Xbox 3 or Xbox One.
Yeah.
Which that made Marv, the guy who was on the podcast last week, super happy because he saw it and he was interested in it, but then he's like, I don't have time for the PC because he's got a kid on the way. He's like, but since they're dropping it on Xbox, he goes, I play it all the time.
So it looks really good. The new characters look interesting. Like they had a bunch of new stuff. They announced some animated shorts, short films
for the
storyline.
Yeah, that's
which is cool.
Yeah, so we'll see.
I'm excited for the animated shorts. I'm sure with as many characters as they have, they're not all going to be compelling, but I'm pretty excited for them. They're going to be sort of in the same vein of the animated short that's already been released for the game. It's going to be in that same sort of style, so that's really excited for me.
Plus, it's Blizzard too, so their cinematics and their shorts are going to be quality.
Yeah.
So
the action in the
question is, will Tracer be in all of them, saying, "Don't worry, cavalry's here, love."
One can only hope.
Every time.
One can only hope.
Every time.
Which, interesting side note for Tracer, she's also now going to be in Heroes of the Storm before Overwatch even comes out.
Yeah, that was a
I'm
cool.
sure that we'll get to hear, "Don't worry, the cavalry's here, love."
Oh my god.
I'll be spamming that.
I know. Everyone will.
Especially if you're playing with me, Roby.
Right.
I'll just wander from my lane up to yours and be like,
just so I play Heroes of the Storm with the sound down. So I don't have to listen to my teammates.
I'll just text it to you while I'm playing.
Or say things, right?
Just sound bites.
Just sound bites.
Just send it to you over and over again.
Sound bites of it over and over again.
Yep.
Cavalry's here, love.
So that's pretty cool. We got to watch the Q&A for Overwatch.
Yeah.
That was interesting. Q&As are interesting. There's not a whole lot to really talk about with Q&As.
Q&A is always my favorite part. Like watching the nerds, like that could get the courage to come up and like be in the spotlight for a moment.
In front of their gods.
In front of their gods, right? And get up there like nervously stammer out their question. A lot of them are like, I'm like, why did you seriously bring this question to the Q&A? You should have sat in your seat. Because you know the answer to your question before you got up here and asked it.
Right.
Some people ask some good questions sometimes.
I think the question that I was most interested in, and it seemed to be a theme across all their platforms, was, is there going to be gender bending in their games?
Yeah, they asked if we're going to have gender bending
in Heroes.
Yeah.
In Heroes and in Overwatch, I think they asked.
Was it?
Yeah.
They were talking about the skins for a lot of characters, and one of the guys asked if there was going to be gender bending. I think they gave a really good answer to it. That's something they want to do, but there are some technical issues because you're not just reskinning a model. You have to create an entirely new model.
Right.
Those models are held in a separate. You can't just switch a skin, so it takes a new interface and everything. So pretty cool stuff. It is technically a little harder right now, but it is something they were thinking about. And they want to do. Yeah.
They were also talking about another question that I liked was moddable. Is Overwatch going to be moddable? And they talked about how much they enjoy the mod community and stuff like that, and they really want to make it. As of this moment, it's going to have its own little bit of customization, but they're not going to make it so fully moddable. But they're interested in exploring, which I don't know what they're going to take from that, but...
Man, I think when you open up FPSs specifically to be modded, especially competitive FPSs, that are first play first player, you open up a chance for a lot of cheating and a lot of exploits. So I think not a good idea.
Especially
Overall,
'cause, they do intend to have this be an esport,
right?
So
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be watching the Overwatch World Championships next year.
Yeah, for certain. So they announced the 3 new characters. One being Genji, who is
Japanese steakhouse.
Hanzo's brother. Genji, the Japanese steakhouse.
Yeah.
He is predictably.
Raiden, is he?
He's
predictably robot-y and predictably swordy.
He's a robot ninja with a sword who brought a sword to a gunfight.
Cybernetic.
Sorry. He's a half robot ninja who brought a sword to a gunfight.
I think that's perfectly fine when you can just bat bullets aside with your sword.
Yeah,
right.
He goes
like
Jedi
a goddamn
mode.
Jedi.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
He looks to have like pretty good defense. Looks like he had a really good closer. We didn't see much. I think there's going to be a lot of information online eventually because there's a lot of people who did get to play with him.
Right.
We were not actually at BlizzCon, unfortunately.
So we're not those people.
Yeah.
They should just like release beta versions during BlizzCon for the people who buy the ticket.
That would be cool.
That would be cool.
Get on it, Blizzard.
That would be cool.
Because you're going to watch this.
Right. You're going to know for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. They also released, what's the chick's name from Avatar? Osaka? No. What's her name?
From Avatar? Oh, you mean...
Osaka? Is it Sokka?
No.
The waterbending chick. Sokka.
That's the dude. That's
the
brother.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever her name is.
I don't remember.
I don't remember what it is either. But yeah, at least like an ice chick who looks like an Eskimo.
Yeah,
who waterbends with ice. So
she does. She actually looks pretty interesting though. I didn't think too much of it when I first saw it because the 2 abilities that I really saw were the ability to like have a large AoE slowing area,
right, and that's
which is
awesome.
really good.
That's
Don't
really
get me
good.
wrong.
Yeah,
it's not particularly interesting, but it is really good.
Yeah, it's useful in a first-person shooter, especially.
Yeah.
Her main gun too does a beam.
Yeah, does like it looks like a frost breath almost sort of setup, but it also slows.
Yeah.
But the cool thing was her ability to traverse like gapped areas by laying down like a field of ice.
Right, Iceman style.
Yeah, Iceman style.
Jump
just
on.
raise an ice wall that serves as defense as well as positioning for your teammates.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Looks like the downside is maybe the bad guys can follow you.
Right.
But still, it's pretty neat.
And that walls don't really mean a whole lot in Overwatch. It doesn't appear.
She did have a wall.
She had a wall she threw up, and
it
it made like 0 difference.
Yeah, Hanzo was like, "Bitch, I can get right over that."
Right. So Hanzo just climbed right over it, and what was it, Farah just like flew right over it. Like,
it depends on the characters. Some of the characters
don't have that much
mobility.
Yeah.
Like obviously Hanzo can climb over it. You got Tracer who can just blink up and over it.
Right.
But
we're thinking more like Winston though.
Winston can't jump over.
No, it'd be good if you wanted to move him around faster.
Oh,
get him
Winston, or Agent, was it Soldier 76 or like McCree? All they can do is dash. So they're just gonna not be able to. It's really gonna block them off. It's good to put up a better choke point.
Yeah.
And there's some choke points that already because there's a lot of areas in the game. Because I've been watching a lot of streams for it, but there's a lot of areas where it's just a little opening in one little area that Widow loves to just sit in and just snipe the crap out of people. But if you can just put a wall up in front of it.
Well, it's also good to separate teammates too.
Yeah.
So you got a squad running together. You separate the healer from there. He can't target the heal.
Yeah.
If Hanzo and Farah come up over that wall against 5 players and the rest can't, they're just gonna die.
It's gonna be in trouble.
There's uses for it.
Yeah. And the other one was
Diva.
D.va. Which I really like her character. I mean, her skills I'm really a fan of. The fact that she's got the EV field or whatever. I mean, it kind of reminds me of Evangelion, basically. She puts up this field that blocks attacks. So she was tearing old Farah up.
I think it might be her ultimate ability where she can get inside a little mech, Japanese style sort of mech, and fly around like Farah.
I thought the ultimate was where the mech blew up.
Yeah, that's
is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, blowing up the mech is the ultimate.
What they did and how they used the combo for that was awesome because charged in with her jets, because she's got jets that make her fly in. So she flew into the center of everybody, threw up her EV field to block all damages, and then self-destructed, which shoots the pilot out the back. So she ran away while this thing blew up and killed everybody.
That was something
was
to
awesome.
note. If that's the case, that actually makes her character even more interesting, because that means there are points where she's not actually in the mech. She's actually just running around on her own.
And she's got a pistol at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
So she's in the mech and out of the mech either way.
yeah. Cool.
Yeah, she can be either or.
And then she can repair the mech and bring it down again.
Oh yeah.
So that one's going to be one to really pay attention. Like, you get good with that one, that's got a lot of versatility.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be
Especially
interesting.
if you have a lot of aerial attacks or snipers shooting at you.
I didn't really see too much of what Genji was capable of, other than like he seemed to have a really fast closer.
Mm-hmm.
And he can block bullets with his sword. What?
Yeah.
How much of that he can do, I don't.
Yeah.
Like how much that's going to protect him. I'm not
Well,
sure.
one of the devs was talking about using that against who's the turret? The
Bastion?
Bastion.
Dude, if he can just
Well, here's what the guy did.
Bastion.
He said Bastion
that's
was
what
shooting at him, and he would use the block and kill the guy next to Bastion, and then run away.
Oh, Ricochet's bullets.
Yeah,
That's even more.
because like
interesting.
you can, while you're defending, you're blocking the bullets, but you can send them in a straight line, whichever way you point.
Man, to be a cybernetic Japanese ninja.
Could you imagine hitting the sniper with with Bastion's bullets?
Yeah.
That'd be funny as shit.
Take it, Widowmaker. Take it.
Yeah, Widowmaker.
But yeah. So it looks great. We haven't really got to play it. Hopefully, we'll get our hands on it soon, and we can give you some first impressions. It'll make me very ill, but I'll do it anyways
Yeah.
because I am a Blizzard
I
fan.
think take some motion sickness pills.
Yeah, something.
But yeah.
All right, what's the next title you guys want to talk about?
Diablo 3, they released some stuff about it, like they had some new like set dungeons and all that stuff.
Pizza break.
Pizza.
Pizza break.
Pizza.
Ready?
Yep.
Oh wow, yeah.
Hey, baby. Pizza break. Pizza break. Should I hit the stop?
Yeah, go ahead and hit the record button. Screw you guys. It's right there on the screen. Well, yeah, you can do that too. Doesn't matter. Just hit that button. Okay.
Now we're recording.
Yeah.
Technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties.
Anyways.
We're good at technology.
I'm not sure where this actually cut off, so
Yeah.
let's just start with HOTS. If it was about Diablo, there wasn't
Right.
a whole lot. There was some set dungeons going on
Right.
that are designed to help you learn your set better.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
So here's a storm, new characters.
New characters for
Daenerys.
Lunaris, we don't know
Nobody
anything
knows
about.
about because we missed that every time
Yeah,
somehow.
we didn't
Super
pay
special like
attention
that. Getting Greymane, who will have range pokes and some range abilities in human form, and then turn into a werewolf or worgen, and didn't have like melee closers and stuff like that. And a lot
His
of like,
closer-
melee ability.
Yeah, his clothes are like
Closer looked really good, and the fact that his ult, like if he kills you with his ult, he can use it again immediately. Is super mean.
Yeah,
Super mean.
super nasty.
For those like team fights when people get low and he appears like at the end and just fucking rapes everyone out.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And then the last one, Cho'Gall,
is Shogun.
who's very interesting.
2 players, 1 character.
2 players play the same character. So some teams are gonna have 4 people, including the raid boss Shogun. So Cho is the melee side. He has melee abilities and fire-based abilities.
And he controls the
And
movement.
he controls the movement. And then Gaul is the mage head, and he has shadow-based spellcasting abilities, pretty much only.
Ranged assassin.
Right.
Yeah. More health than the average character, it looks like, as well.
Yes.
Because you do have 2 players in the one. Possibly the coolest thing is that I remember telling you, because they showed one shot of Cho like running and he was carrying a unicorn, the unicorn mount.
Right.
And I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if that's the way they actually have him mount in the game? Sure enough, that's how he mounts.
That is how he mounts.
Picks
He
the horse up and runs.
picks the horse up and runs with it.
It runs with it. Yep.
So that's freaking awesome. He looks like an interesting character. There's a lot of interesting, like systems things they had to do with him.
Yeah.
Where basically the way it works is if somebody picks Cho in the group, then if nobody else picks Gaul, then he doesn't get to choose the character.
Well, someone else has to pick Gaul, so they can. So like because of the way they pick in competitive HOTS play, right? So when you're drafting like one, you draft 1, then they draft 1, then you do 2, then they do 2, then you do 1, then you do 1, right?
Well, they said in draft, the way it's
Right.
going to work is he can't be first picked, he can't be last picked, because he has to be picked
In the middle.
back to back.
Back to back, right?
So yeah,
And if they ban 1, they ban both.
they ban both.
Yeah.
Right. So in competitive play, that's not really that big a deal. Well, it is a bit of a big deal. Big deal that it can't be last or first pick. That's kind of a big deal.
Right.
But I mean, if you know you're gonna pick them.
Yeah, if you got a team or whatever, and you got two people that are really good, they'll just they'll just set it that way. So.
Right. What would be interesting to see is when you're playing Gaul and somebody else is playing Cho, and he goes Link Dead, how well the computer actually responds to your pings to try and get you into range to do whatever you want to do or whatever, So it'd almost be worth it to have two accounts to log in with someone else's Gaul and have them go Link Dead, to have the computer so you just be play as Cho melee character or whatever, and then have a ranged turret on your shoulder. With excellent skill shot abilities,
What we do know is, as far as the way that your abilities work, they both have two abilities that work independently of each other. They have one ability that Cho will roll out a grenade, basically, a large bouncy ball, fire grenade thing, and then Gaul has
Makes it.
has to actually blow it up.
Yep.
And then they have separate ults.
As
well.
And ults look pretty cool too.
Yes.
Yeah. So I can't remember Cho's ults. I do remember Gaul's ults, where he pulls people into him, and there's a large explosion when he does that. It looks really cool. And then where he just shoots out a bunch of shadow bolts all over the place.
Which looks super neat.
Yeah, it looks really fun. But they talked a little bit about a new map as well, which looks pretty interesting. All in all, there wasn't a whole lot of new stuff on that front other than those characters, but look forward to them. That's a really fun game. So
should be interesting.
Oh, people who bought the BlizzCon virtual ticket and or went to BlizzCon get Cho'Gall for free in about a week or two.
Nice.
And the way you get Cho'Gall in the game is they call it the Cho'Gall virus, where you have to play with somebody else, and if you win 2 games with that player, then they get Cho'Gall.
Yeah.
So I'll have it. You can for 10 gold. I'll play with you. You can also get Cho'Gall.
Cool, no problem. I'll pay you 10 gold.
Yeah.
I won't.
It's in the mail.
I expect it for free.
Privilege.
But
Fucking entitlement.
Honestly, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool thing. It's really unique to MOBAs.
And it'll be interesting to see if it sets up other similar things in the future or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because what I'd love to see is some sort of Voltron gnome mech, gnomish or goblin mech or whatever, where literally all 5 of you were playing on the same same tune or whatever. That would be crazy shit.
That you could do. Was it Mimir?
Mimiron.
Yeah, Mimiron.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that or whatever.
Yeah, you get Voltron.
Yeah,
his tank and his
Voltron,
helmet.
VO 473, whatever. Yeah.
But so HOTS looks good. There wasn't terribly much other than that. But Cho'Gall, really cool.
Looks interesting.
Really,
yeah,
really
I'm
cool.
looking forward to trying out some Cho'Gall.
But
Heroes of the Storm and being awful with him. Dibs on Gaul every time.
No.
Good luck.
All I'm saying is Connor, if you're playing Cho, you gotta play Cho, because I won't get out in time. We'll be dying all the time.
It's true. You too, for that matter.
Yeah.
Right, so if you want to be
turrets.
successful,
You're like,
you gotta be Cho if
I wonder if
we're
that
gonna be
turret
successful.
It's gonna hurt me. I'm just gonna go stand by it for a while.
Yeah, let's see if it hurts me real bad. Yeah, it does.
It's attacking me. I wonder if it's gonna stop.
No.
No?
It does.
Oh, I'm dead. Oh, it stopped.
It always does eventually.
Yeah. But
It'll run out of ammo.
yeah. So the next game, next title, let's to talk about.
StarCraft 2, Legacy of the Void.
Legacy of the Void.
Legacy of the Void comes out on Tuesday. So when everyone else is playing Fallout, I'll be playing Legacy of the Void because Fallout's pretty lame. So
False.
They come out on the same day.
Yes.
Yeah, same day.
Yes.
That ought to be interesting. I wonder. It'd be interesting to see what sells more. PC wise, it's probably going to be StarCraft. Well, no.
I'm willing to
Here in
bet.
America, it'll be Fallout 4.
Yeah, in America, it's going to be Fallout 4, without a doubt. In Korea,
South Korea, that's not going to be the case.
it's not going to be the case. Yeah, South Korea is going to it's going to be all about StarCraft, without a doubt. Yeah. But Legacy of the Void comes out. I don't know much about it. I know that there are a bunch of new units, mostly multiplayer units.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you the cinematic is beautiful.
The cinematic's amazing.
It's about 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
It's been out or so.
I'm really looking forward to finish up the storyline and seeing how everything works out with the Zelnaga coming back and all that sort of thing. Seeing what's going on with that for sure.
Well, I like how they announced that just because this is the 3rd installment of StarCraft 2 and the last story bit for the Protoss, it's not the end of the story. There's going to be more.
Yeah.
The Nova story
They announced
packs.
the Nova Core, the Nova Covert Ops pack.
Yeah.
that will be coming out shortly, like middle of next year sometime.
Which I'm excited
Where
for.
you'll have like more story missions with Nova and stuff like that.
You gotta find out why
Like,
she's
Nova.
a sarcastic meanie.
Just find out why she's a giant. She's not a sarcastic mini. She's a raging bitch.
Yeah, we gotta find out why now.
Right. Like there's a difference. Like there's sarcastic mini, but Nova's like up here. She's the next level up.
I'm okay with it though. I
Right,
love
Nova's
Nova's character.
Nova. I love his character, but
Well, you'd be upset
she's a raging
too.
bitch.
You'd be upset too if you were going to have a solo title and it got
and they got
taken
taken
away.
away from you.
And then ignored
Granted.
for 10 years before they oh, we're going to add you as a side character.
Right,
and,
I just side character because
Yeah.
they like Kerrigan's prettier than you. She gets to be in
Yeah.
charge. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kerrigan's got red hair. You're blonde. She's more interesting than you.
As a quick side note, by the way, we did sit down and watch the costume contest,
We did watch the costume contest.
and then
yes.
there was
and
Kerrigan, the King of Blades.
the King of
Yeah.
Blades. Yes, there's a gender bent Kerrigan.
Gender bending Kerrigan, which the costume was pretty in depth, but unfortunately he did not succeed in looking like anything but the Queen of Blades.
Yeah.
Right.
He still just looked like a woman.
Yeah. He did not manage to make it look very masculine.
Yeah.
Not really.
Not really, because it was exactly the same costume. So
Right.
and he had big enough pecs that just looked like small boobs. I'm like, well, bro, sorry,
Yeah.
apologize, but yeah, just quick side
I
note.
think we were all disappointed by the outcome of
Yeah.
the costume.
That was
yeah.
terrible.
Like,
Yeah.
the person who did win should
Papa Cosplay?
not have won.
I believe that was his name.
Yeah.
I mean, his costume looked really good.
It did look amazing.
But
We'll grant him that.
It didn't fit
did-
into any Blizzard IP.
thematically. it didn't-
Thematically.
He's a space marine, Warhammer.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. If you can bring your costume and win the cosplay at BlizzCon, and then take your costume to like, a Warhammer 40K cosplay contest and win that as well.
Here's my issue with this guy. If he had a bubble helmet, okay, that rolled over his head, then I'm fine with it. Okay, but without the bubble helmet, he looks like a space marine from, like, and even the general layout of his armor like that looked like a space marine from Warhammer,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and not a space marine from StarCraft 2.
But I mean, the whole costume was leather, and it looked right proportionally.
Except his
It was
legs.
beautiful. I'm not questioning that.
Yeah.
It was,
Legs were too
it was
small to
amazing,
be
but I
Well,
just,
to be blue, yeah,
right, should
or
have
even
like,
Warhammer.
Well,
They both have like,
tubular boots,
yeah,
right?
but it just, I don't know. I was a little upset with it. It wasn't incredibly ornate, and it looked really good, but it just didn't fit into BlizzCon as a BlizzCon costume.
Right.
There was a much better costumes for that.
I thought the Kel'Thuzad, like an honorable mention,
Yeah.
was a better costume than that.
that was awesome.
Like-
He even had Bigglesworth.
It looked good, yeah.
I think the Tracer and the Mercy.
The Tracer and Mercer were both, but neither of them.
Tracer
well,
didn't even
Mercer was
get a-
participating.
Well,
The Tracer wasn't even participating.
she wasn't even participating, which was
Yeah.
weird. I don't know if they had like some kind of an entrance fee
Nor
or
was the
something.
male Tracer participating because there was a gender bent Tracer as well.
Yeah, there was a gender bent Tracer as well.
Yeah.
There was also Reaper gender bending,
Yeah, Reaper gender
Yeah.
bending happened as well.
which was awesome because they looked exactly the same. Just one was woman, one was man.
Yeah, those
But they did
costumes
not look
were
very much. They were pretty good.
they're pretty good. They were spot on the same.
Yeah, and I thought they were better than a lot of the people who did get, like, who did place or whatever.
I
But
thought that Avery, who the past 2 years has placed and or won, she did the
Zul'jin.
she did
Gender
Vol'jin.
bent.
She did.
yeah,
gender bent
Vol'jin.
she gender bent Vol'jin this year, and it looked pretty good. But
Side boob.
yeah, I don't know about that. That looked really suspect. I'm like, man, she moves right. It must have been taped down. That's the only thing I could possibly think of.
Yeah, probably taped down.
Yeah, but
But I think Vol'jin's not. He's not cool enough to get like the votes for. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Even though
well-
he's speaking for the Horde now.
her costume didn't seem to like there's a lot of work up here. A lot of work in the
Right.
face. Looked fantastic. It was a really good troll
Right.
face. Like what she did was, but the rest of it didn't quite fit because
She didn't even have the spear that he always carries.
well, I think the problem was is
Or
that
the
she
bow.
put so much work in the face. It made her face much bigger because she put a lot made the nose bigger, big tusks, like
Right.
a lot of add-ons. But she still has a small frame
Yeah.
that didn't really fit with the rest of what a troll is, which is like really pretty hulking.
Right. Yeah, lanky and,
Yeah.
and large.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, Linky and Large is.
yeah.
But I don't know. It wasn't too bad. But she did I think the Terran adjutant the
Yeah.
first year she won, which that costume was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was an amazing one.
Yeah, but anyways, that aside, Yeah.
So we got what left is World of Warcraft. Pretty much.
Warcraft,
Let's get to Warcraft movie first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Warcraft movie.
Full-length trailer.
Released the full-length trailer.
I've watched it numerous times now.
Yes. We all have,
And
I imagine.
I like it more and more.
I like where they decided to go story-wise with it. I'm really happy they got King Lane, they've got Duratan, they got all those guys. They got the front.
Fag.
No, false.
Your heart's with the Alliance. We know it is.
King Lane was pretty badass.
Bro, whatever. Did he die?
Well, yeah,
Okay.
he got assassinated.
So
though.
did Duratan.
Yeah,
So,
they all die.
A lot of you, it's all Garona's fault, who's also in the movie.
yeah.
They actually, show that particular storyline of Garona assassinating King Lane,
Yeah.
which was really cool. Garona looks amazing.
Garona
Duratan
looks
looks amazing.
Duratan looks really... Ogrim looks really good.
Ogrim looks amazing. I think we saw Hellscream in there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
he
that's
was
who
in the
that
fight.
was,
Yeah.
he looks amazing.
I think that was Garrosh Hellstrom who threw the horse. Like there's a scene where an orc picks up a horse
Grom.
and throws it. Yeah, Grom Hellstrom, you're right. But yeah, like he picks up a horse and throws it. And I was like,
Don't make me get
damn,
my red shirt.
that's impressive.
Yeah, it was really impressive. Like,
Yeah.
and other than the CGI Thrall, who's a baby,
Right.
he's a baby.
And CGI babies always look bad.
It doesn't look that bad,
Right. Well, it's
but
not
in
like,
comparison to the rest of the orcs,
yeah,
it looks bad.
All right, it could be worse. It could be American Sniper, baby.
it could be
Did you guys hear
Twilight
about that?
Breaking Dawn Part 2, baby.
I didn't see that.
I think it was a monstrosity.
American Sniper Baby was a
Was
little
a
doll.
little doll, yeah.
Yeah, wrapped up in a
It was
blanket.
like literally a fake doll.
But yeah, the movie just looks. I don't know. I think they're capturing WoW really well.
I hope so.
From what
I
I've
hope
seen.
I hope it will be super good. I don't know.
Well, I know that you were wrong because when the teaser came out, you're like, oh, they're just doing lion stuff.
Yeah, what I said was I was afraid that they were going to paint it
That
out
you're
to
wrong?
be too simplistic,
You should be, because you were.
and then it turned out that my fears were unfounded. That does not make me wrong.
You were wrong.
It makes my fears unfounded. No, I said my fear was that it was going to be painted out as like Alliance is good, Horde is
Listen,
bad.
I'm a Horde player.
Sort
Well,
of.
I've played Horde
Blanket.
mostly throughout my WoW career. Any of my serious tunes were all Horde. I watched the teaser, the same one you did, and I didn't have that fear because...
You're
I'm not a
and you
whiny-
don't think in depth about anything.
Right! I was absolutely
I got
right!
it.
Who was
I got it.
right?
It's cool.
Who was right?
It's cool because you
Who
don't
was
think in
right?
depth about stuff. Right.
Who was right?
The guy who didn't do any thinking about it.
Who was right?
That guy was right.
Right.
You get lucky. You get lucky a
Go
lot.
watch
That
go
happens,
watch the
bro.
trailer again and then
That
tell me.
happens.
Go watch the
That
teaser
happens.
trailer again and then tell me. It's like...
The teaser shows you nothing about the Horde.
It's like...
It shows you nothing about how they're gonna represent the Horde.
They didn't show you much about how they were going to represent the Alliance either because it was a teaser.
It showed Lane jumping off the balcony, grabbing the Griffin.
I still don't like that.
You don't like
But-
that?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, put these kind of shoes on, so it doesn't make any sense. But
Well, you haven't seen the scene yet. You don't know why
Fair
he doesn't
enough.
have shoes
It
on.
looks
But it just-
awesome.
yeah.
I think it's all. He jumps off the side of a cliff onto a Griffin that is.
Yeah, scary.
If it was a
No,
Horde
no.
doing it, he'd be fine. Just don't worry about it.
No,
He'd be fine.
I would
Shut
not
up.
be
Yeah,
online
you
with
would.
it.
Yes, you would.
either. No. If Duratan like ran off the side of the mountain and like landed on something else, whenever they do that in movies, I'm always like,
Right, sure.
Gul'dan, another character, is going to be in the movie.
Oh yeah, they did confirm Gul'dan in that. He would have fine with Horde. He would
no, I would not. No,
Oh
I
my
would not.
God.
I would not.
It's really easy
I
to
would
say that
not.
right now, isn't
I
it?
would not because that's
It's really easy to say that now, isn't it?
Because that scene's been done a bajillion times.
It's easy
in a
to say that.
bajillion different movies.
It's easy to say that now,
where
isn't it?
dude runs off and like lands on whatever.
Well,
flying
that's not
thing
what it
that
actually is, so
thing.
I'll just say whatever I want.
You're retarded.
You're retarded. Anyway, I don't know. The rest of it I thought was amazing.
Yeah.
I just think it looks good. Really
But I'm
good.
still going to hold my reservations because they have been working on this movie for 7 years, and generally movies that get worked on for 7 years don't get better. They're not. They don't come out and be amazing.
There is a lot of
So-
that. 2 of those years, though, were like
Avatar.
them searching. 2 of those years were them searching for somebody to actually like produce it and write
Produce
it
and direct.
and direct it.
I understand there are lots of reasons.
So a lot of
why
that's not actually
it took
production.
7 years.
Well, it took 7 years because Blizzard wasn't going to let just anybody do it.
Yeah.
You know.
I understand that.
So-
but it doesn't make me feel better about it Still, like it looks good. It does look amazing.
So you would have felt better about it
I'm
if Blizzard
going to
just took the first taker and was like, "This dude, Yui Bowl, let's do it."
Yes.
They said no to Yui.
I would have loved to see
yes.
Yui Bowl do this.
I would have loved it.
Yeah, Yui Bowl would have done a full Horde movie, right? That's why you would have liked it.
Yes. Me and Yui Bowl understand.
Let's change gears to stifle the argument here.
It's no argument. He's wrong.
Cars like making up bullshit facts.
So
and then
they
hitting them on me.
also announced their expansion, World of Warcraft
Well,
expansion.
they announced
He announced it last.
Well, yeah, I mean they
Gamescom,
went
like, a
in
year
depth
ago or
with
whatever,
it.
but-
They told us the changes that are coming.
Right.
We saw like more land and stuff in the maps and the leveling
There's
zones.
a ton of stuff that came out for it.
They
So-
showed a ton of stuff.
So get comfortable because we're going to go through quite a bit of it.
One thing, go to your computers. Well, you got your computer now, probably. Watch the intro
Yes.
watch the intro cinematic. They released intro cinematic for Legion, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's really good, I think.
Ruby could not stop. He could not help himself to point out that the Horde leader in the video was always doing more than the Alliance leader at every point.
That is not at all what I said.
He's all like, "Oh, look, there's Sylvanas already doing the things that Sylvanas does because
I'm saying.
Varian Wind's on the water going,
Right. Caring about people and stuff. I did find it interesting, at the costume contest, there were probably 4 Anduin Rins,
Yeah.
all of which played by girls.
Yeah, all of them.
Like, playing, like, females, like, girls playing male Anduin Rin. Not
And they looked-
like the gender bit Anduin Rin, but, like,
The male
male
Anduin.
Anduin Rin.
Yeah, and they all looked pretty good.
Yeah.
I do want to point out, though, the one problem, after watching the intro to Legion, I think 5 times now, the one problem I realize is that there's almost no one else other than those 2 in that video. You hear a bunch of yelling and commotion.
Yeah.
He's on a giant battleship. He comes out, fucking nobody there. There's no...
Right, so it's like, there's a people operating the cannon, you assume, because it's like
Well,
turning and firing.
No, there's one
But-
scene where it pans around and you see like a garrison marching across the ship and everything.
A few.
Yeah.
You see like 4 or 5 other people, but this is a ginormous battle.
Yeah.
True.
And beyond the point where the ship gets hit, there is nobody else besides those 2.
Until like the water.
There's demons, bro, all over the place.
Well, I'm talking about Allied forces,
Right.
specifically.
Yeah. Yeah, the ship does seem to be relatively empty of people,
Yeah.
which seems sort of weird, given that, like, a giant inferno just landed on it, and it started tearing things up.
Yeah.
But, Grant,
They
that
did
is
a
sort
good
of weird.
job with that giant infernal though.
Yeah.
Like I liked how the damage it caused to the ship. That Alliance flying ship just got torn up.
They both did, eventually.
They always get their shit fucked
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, this is one of the things I did also think the first time I saw it was like, I don't know why they keep using those things.
I know, right?
Like they just get torn up
This thing is a death trap every time.
every time.
Every time this thing's a death trap.
Every time.
Yeah.
But first thing, go watch the cinematic. It's really good.
Yeah.
I think I really like the way that they portrayed Varian Wren. I was afraid they were gonna make him too pretty boy, but they made him like a war torn, like war
Right, he's really scarred up.
war worn
Yeah.
Yeah.
king. So
Yeah.
it looked pretty fantastic, and Sylvanas looked amazing
Spawn's with super
Yeah.
amazing.
as well. The small exchange they have, they never say anything to each other,
Nope.
but he's talking about there's a lot of like undertones that if you're not paying attention you may miss. But a lot of the other he's writing to Anduin, and as he's saying words about like talking about how Anduin has these hopes for peace and how Varians come over to Anduin's way of thinking. He's talking about cooperation.
Yeah.
He looks over at Sylvanas, and Sylvanas like gives the Sylvanas like just a bit of a smirk and like nods her
Yeah.
head a little bit, and he like nods his head just a tad.
Yeah.
So you get that
Just ever so slight of the bro nod.
Right.
Just a little bro nod.
you get that same feeling when he's talking about like I find it hard to trust,
Yeah.
but now I believe as you do. So it was pretty cool. It was really really well done. Really
Yeah.
well done, except for the lack of soldiers, which was weird.
Yeah.
Which was kind of weird, but.
Yeah.
But to
You
be
get to
fair,
see
they
all
crashed
the
the
ships.
ship, and then there were some soldiers in the water,
Yeah.
also sinking.
But you also saw the boats too. Like it was very much a D-Day situation.
Yeah.
I mean, they're coming at it. They're not going to suffer the Legion.
Yeah, no, I might be wrong. My understanding is that the initial scenario to join will be that fight at the beachhead. is be a 20-man scenario on both sides.
40 man, 20
man total, 20 man on both sides.
It's going to be alliance and or cooperative scenario.
Yeah, 20 on their side, 20 on our side.
Imagine that on a PvP server if they still keep each other flagged.
It'll be a mess. It'll be a no PvP zone.
Yeah.
But so 20 of them, 20 alliance, 20 horde, and you go in and like open the beachhead on there, where we have to breach the initial defense and stuff like that. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Should be pretty cool. I didn't mind the initial scenario for not Warlords, but the one before.
Mists?
Wasn't it? No, the Iron Horde one. I know it was Warlords, wasn't it?
That is Warlords.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because you end up making your garrison after that.
Well,
but where you break in or whatever, and you're like running around with Khadgar at the beginning or whatever, and you see all the other things like that. Like, that was kind of fun,
Here's the thing to remember, and this is the coolest thing. Like the intro, into Tanan Jungle when you first introduced into Warlords, like you said, was amazing. There was a lot of VO, there was a lot of cool action, a lot of cool set pieces they set up for you to participate in.
Yeah.
This one has more VO than the last one. They've only learned their lessons, hopefully well, from previous games, and a lot of people really liked the opening to Tanan. So hopefully they'll actually do the same here. I'm assuming they will. But,
yeah, I assume as well.
Yeah.
But
Something that was introduced when they first said announced they were going to release Legion was obviously the Demon Hunter heroic class.
Yes.
A whole lot more details on that class. That class looks ridiculously mobile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got a lot of cool things. You got a dash, a mid-air dash you don't have to have a target for. It does some damage, but you can just dash whenever you feel like doing it. They have a glide effect that you can do. They have a double jump that you can do. So anytime you're falling, you can just hit glide.
Yeah.
You can just press jump and you'll glide down.
Could you imagine flying mounts? You remember how we used to bear bomb?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Now you can glide, you fall off your mount, whatever, do damage, and then just glide.
Just glide.
So there's also
glide and then dash and then glide again, and then dash and then glide again, then dash and then glide again, then dash. Yeah. It's gonna be ridiculous.
The Demon Hunter is a tank and DPS.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has the two specs.
Right.
One has two specs.
Two melee specs.
The droid stole one.
Yeah.
Yeah. They got Spectral Sight, which looks awesome, which can see through walls. It's basically Superman.
Yeah.
I can see you in stealth, so don't even try.
Turns it on, he can see everything else kind of turns gray, but any of his opponents, they don't have to be demons. That's the thing to remember.
Yeah.
They don't have to be demons even. But anything that's going to con red to him is going to show up in red outlines.
Yeah.
Or red blotches, really. But apparently you can just see through stealth with that ability, which is ridiculous for PvP.
Arenas, especially.
Rogues are going to be so sad.
Yep.
Yeah, but we'll get into the rogue stuff. They kind of gave rogues a little bit better.
Oh, yeah, the subtlety rogue?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that in a minute.
Yeah.
But the next, they really only had information on the DPS spec.
Well, the one that's really important about the DPS spec is interrupts with rage cash back. So there's a bonus for DPS to now interrupt because they get their rage back.
If they successfully interrupt a spell,
it's
fury. Fills their fury bar.
Fury rage.
Yeah, it works.
Thing.
Yeah, it's whatever. But it's basically the same thing. The thing to remember is Fury works exactly like Rage. So you have to build it up kind of slowly. But if you interrupt successfully, full Fury bar.
Full Fury bar.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Hopefully there's no timer on that, though, because then you're going to have every melee DPS interrupting the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
And not cycling their interrupts.
That's true. It's gonna be really good.
They're gonna have a cooldown on interrupts. They can't have a non-interrupted cooldown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's gonna be like a 10-second cooldown on that minimum, I would think.
Yeah.
They're not gonna let you refill your fury bar every second.
True.
Oh
You know what I mean?
The metamorphosis.
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
100% life leech on metamorphosis.
Yeah.
They took it away from Warlocks, which we'll discuss.
Yeah, they took it away from.
Which I should have done.
I'm totally for that.
Yes, I am too.
And
Warlock is not a demon hunter.
Yeah.
Metamorphosis always felt out of place and clunky to me.
Yeah, always.
Always.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, 100% life leech. That's disgusting.
Yeah.
Especially because, the damage you do is amplified, everything you do is amplified. And it doesn't you have the more damage you do, the longer it lasts too, or is that the insanity?
That's we'll talk about that in a bit too, about insanity. But no, it's just the 100% life leech is what I took away the most from metamorphosis. It increases everything that you do, but on top of that, that's a lot of life, man.
Yeah.
that is a lot of life that you're going to be able to generate during. It's probably a longer cooldown. It is sort of one of the bigger abilities, but it's a really good one. It's good everywhere. It's good in arena. It's good in battlegrounds. It's good in PvE. It's good everywhere. Soloing. It's going to be useful.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of those cooldowns you're going to blow on like an elite mob that you normally couldn't take, and maybe now you can.
Or you're in the spot where you accidentally aggro 5 or 6 more extra mobs, and boom, it doesn't matter.
I think it was. I'm not sure the length of it. It was kind of longish, if I remember.
Yeah, I think it's like 20, 30 seconds.
20, 30 seconds. Yeah, I was like,
it's a
decent amount of time.
That's
So enjoy that because it'll probably get shortened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably get nerfed.
Like, all in all, I feel like right now, and we haven't played them, so we don't know a lot of their damage. We don't know any of that stuff really, but and all those numbers can be tweaked like at a moment's notice. But I feel right now between being incredibly mobile, having a ridiculous heal like they do, and also being able to see stealth characters, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in arena and PvP. They're going to be hard to kill.
Yeah, definitely.
We don't know anything about the secondary spec, which is the tank spec. I don't remember what it's called, but they didn't really have any information on it.
They didn't represent you. I'm sure they have it, but they have a limited amount of time. They have an hour to present whatever they have to present, and so they have a bunch of stuff they want to get to, so they didn't mention anything about it.
I will make a prediction, though. My prediction is that the tank version of Metamorphosis is something... They called it a cooldown in this, and it probably will be, but I think it's going to be something that you'll see a lot of. Like, they're going to be able to go to demon form more often, I think.
Okay.
In general. That's just my prediction.
Yeah. They did show us the different metamorphosis for tank spec, and that it was more bulky and armory as opposed to the
huge.
other
Which almost makes me want to roll a tank with that spec. I mean, we'll get dual specs, I get both
specs.
specs.
Bad at tanking, so
yeah, exactly.
Everyone preferred you didn't do it.
Exactly my point.
Like, everyone preferred you just didn't.
But I'll just be in tank. I'm DPS, guys. No, you're not.
No.
I'm DPS, guys.
I have. Look how cool I look.
Why are you pulling?
Yeah, so they also made a variety of other class changes to other classes. They wanted to get rid of a lot of things that felt clunky and bad. Like, Death Knights have switched now to a single rune type instead of 3 rune types, which is the way it should have been forever and always, because it always felt bad and clunky.
Well, they also noticed that a lot of people spend most of their time watching the runes and not the fight.
Right.
Because you had to hit your rune at the exact time, and as soon as your death rune was up, you had to use it.
Yeah.
So
it felt bad. Fury Warriors, they got rid of a lot of the charges of whatever you had to watch in Fury Warriors.
Now I'm a rage, now I can hit my slam button twice because I only have 2 charges.
I'm going to assume this means they also quit, because they said they changed Guardian Druids away from the dodgy Guardian Druids, which means that I'm guessing they also got rid of you having to cycle shield block the same way. Because before, the tanking in Warlords, and really from Mist and through Warlords, has been about everybody has you have 2 buttons, 2 times you can press your thing, and you have to rotate them. It's like a 50-second cooldown, the last 12 seconds, and you have to rotate those 2. So as a bear, you literally did nothing else but use your 1 rage generating ability and did that ability. That's it. As a bear, that's pretty much all that you did. Unless you had maxed out enough crit, you could generate rage to do some additional other attacks. And it was bad and boring and horrible.
They talked a lot about theme for the characters. They really wanted to cement you in whatever theme that your class fits into, like a warrior.
Your class spec.
Your class spec specifically, yeah.
Yeah.
So because it's called shield block, they might just keep it.
They might, but but my guess that'll be different. I guess that shield block will go back to being what it was before,
maybe.
Or more like what it was before they made this change. Because all they did was make it change, so it gives you for 15 seconds you have a 30% extra 30% chance to block. That's what shield block did. And then you had 2 stacks of it that you could use before you had to press it, wait 15 seconds, and right as the other one fell off, press it again. And then so you could keep them constantly rolling all the time, and you had to be good at keeping them constantly rolling all the time to be a good tank. Yep. And it just felt like just trapping you in just these certain buttons or whatever, and you weren't doing anything else.
Something else that I'd like to mention, this was announced, they didn't talk about it at all this BlizzCon, but it was announced in the last BlizzCon, that I think deserves to be mentioned again, speaking of druids, is that, we'll get more into artifact weapons, but everyone's getting one, everyone gets one, that depending on your artifact weapon, how you change it and stuff, will actually give you appearance changes to your druid forms.
Yes.
You'll be an armored kitty, or you'll be an armored bear, and that's
Oh, that is
Yes.
cool.
Yeah.
And when you change what your weapon looks like, that will change.
It will change how your armor colors, stuff like that, will all be shown through in your artifact change. Yeah.
Which is really awesome.
Yeah.
Really awesome. But
So-
yeah.
There's Arcane. They changed Arcane Mages. Instead of paying attention to your Arcane stacks, they made it a resource.
Right.
So it's called Savant, which is the new master.
Well, Savant is the new mastery.
Right.
So you have Arcane Resource. You use your abilities that used to generate stacks of Arcane power, and then when you had like max stacks, you would use the other ability, right?
Yeah.
If they start working, cleared it out or whatever.
The biggest problem with Arcane, my takeaway from this, playing Arcane Mage quite a bit, was that as an Arcane Mage you would just hit your Arcane Blast button until you got to a certain stack, and then you would have to blow that stack so you don't run yourself out of mana.
Right.
And then the more mana you had, the more damage you had. Specifically, what I got out of this was that that's how much mana you have ties into your damage. It's not a thing anymore, which is good.
Yeah.
Is a really good thing. I didn't really understand a lot of the other stuff that he was saying.
Well, he's saying that they're going to change that now, so that instead you stack up. You basically it's sort of going to be like combo points, I think, and that you when you cast your Arcane Blast, you'll build up one Arcane Charge and then another Arcane Charge, and you'll spend the Arcane Charges on your spender spells, and that your Mastery now changes to just give you more mana in general.
Yeah.
So that you can afford to stack up more.
I think it increases your max mana or something.
Yeah, but that's what's in the market notes, right?
Yeah, but I didn't really take good notes.
True.
Yeah.
Good point. Do not take the notes about that.
But
But good Savant increases your maximum mana,
yeah.
is what it does.
Yeah,
So the
it's
more
supposed to
mastery you stack as the Arcane Mage, the more mana you will have.
Because I think Arcane is still going to be extremely mana hungry. It doesn't sound like they had any plans on changing that.
Right.
Which, that's fine.
Which makes sense, right. Well,
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But
So the next class is Survival Hunter. Now,
huge changes here.
Yeah. Now, back into vanilla, I had a couple buddies that, we had a hunter who bid all of his DKP on the Black Claw or whatever that you got from the first Drake that you fought in Blackwing Lair, and he
Yes.
won. Pissing off warriors, rogues, everybody, right? 'Cause it's clearly a fist weapon. And he said he wanted to melee, so... everybody gave him his time, but he actually did all right. And now they're taking that for survival hunters, and it will be a melee hunter.
Yes.
So, with a
all
spear.
survival hunters will be melee. Which my guess will mean the death of survival hunter.
You think so?
I think you're going to see a couple of them who are people who want to do it, but I think you're going to see mostly not very many survival hunters.
I'm going to have to disagree. I think there's two things.
I think people play hunter because they want to lazily sit back at ranged and not have to worry about moving as much or having to get out of close AoE effects or watching that kind of stuff. They're gonna try it out and be like, shit, I'm not good at this. I'm switching back to marks and being a ranged hunter again.
See, I disagree. I agree and I disagree. I agree that that's a reason why a lot of people play hunters, without a doubt. However, there's always been a strong contingent of people who want melee hunter to come back from vanilla.
Yeah.
Fair point.
On top of that, there's plenty of people who play other melee classes who might be like,
I'll try it out.
I'll try this out.
Right.
Because you got a pet.
Well,
A lot of it's
Perhaps.
going to determine how good it is.
Yeah.
Because right now survival is still really, really good. And if it ends up still being really, really, really good, people will play it. Just, long and short of it. But I think you're right. I think a lot of people will just
I
stick
used to play Beast Lord in EverQuest. And Survival Hunter sounds sort of like Beast Lord.
Yeah. Awesome, right?
So maybe I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll check it out. I might actually level up a hunter.
But with this, okay, so if you get good
I
with...
know, right? I know.
What? Okay, so
I
you
might
said it
actually
could
do
change
it
the game
just
for
'cause I can do
hunters.
melee.
So you get rid
Well,
of
I think-
hold on. You get rid of the lazy marksman hunters. You get people 6 months from release when people are actually the ones who don't want to. Actually, 3 months from release. So
When everyone's quit playing?
Right.
Let's say a month from release.
okay, a month from release when everybody is over their survival hunter melee thing, trying it out, and then you get the ones. So you could potentially actually have good hunters at that point that don't rely on that, get out of stuff, lay traps, do what they're supposed to do. Because I remember when I used to play, a lot of hunters would just get killed all the time. Cause they would just blow everything up front, grab aggro or something like that.
I don't know if it's going to change.
I don't think
that.
You don't think you're gonna get a
I mean,
more
have
quality
good
player?
hunters. No.
No. How many? I mean, there's
No,
rogues.
I think you'll have...
That's true.
Rogues and Fury Warriors, man, it's not going to be any different. DPS will always be DPS. And they still have their pets, which
Yes.
is really the cause for a lot of hunter fuck ups.
Yeah.
Is the pet.
True.
You know.
So, yeah, no. What I think you're gonna see is like a lot of people who play survival now are gonna be butthurt because they don't want to be like, I don't want to be marks or whatever, and that's why the only reason why they play survival in reality, and but they're gonna go back to being just marks or just being beast mastery or whatever because they'll find that they don't actually want to be a melee hunter. You know what I mean? It will depend on how good it is, really. And on how easy to play it is. Because there are a lot of people who play Hunter because, honest to God, it is easy. I send my pet in, or I don't send my pet in, and I just auto-attack for the most part. And
March, you don't even have to have
hit
a pet
my,
in.
like, arcane shot or whatever until my other shot's ready to press, and then do that. And then, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, 3-button rotation, basically. And hell, half the time in 5-mans, you can just arcane shot even most of the time.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, yeah, I think you're going to see a lot less survival hunters in general. I think the ones that you do see are going to be badass motherfuckers.
Hopefully.
And I think, you know what I mean? You're going to see some badasses, and then you're going to see everybody else will just go to Marks or Beast.
I just want Beast to be good again. That was my favorite spec, but now I'll actually try survival for the first time ever. I've never, ever spec'd my guys survival.
I used to go survival when you had lock and load and stuff like that.
Yeah, see,
that
I
was a
didn't-
lot of fun
Yeah.
because you could just tear somebody up real quick. with
I just
that.
didn't like the, I don't know, I liked Marks better if I was going to go range. I love that, like, big front-loading damage that pisses every tank off in the world.
Yes, everyone. Like, you don't have to start with that, you know. You don't have to start with that.
You have to hit all your trainers.
Yes, I do. In PvP, you should, sure, because you only have one chance. But this is a PvP. You can do that later.
You can wait a second.
You can
Nothing
have a
worse
5
than-
count before you do that.
Nothing worse than a decapitate pull.
Yes, I missed that.
And when it gets, all of a sudden,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah, dude, I love those because I just go to the next mob. I go to the next
yeah.
mob.
Oh, you let the hunter learn
I'm
his
like,
lesson.
fuck you, bro.
Yeah.
Either you gotta play death and that's gonna kill the healer and he's gonna be pissed.
I would just
Or-
death grip it after it kills the hunter. I death grip it back.
Yeah.
This is probably the class I'm most excited about as far as changes
Shadow
go.
priest.
Well, priest in general.
Priest, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, there's no seems to be any real changes to Holy. Holy
Holy
seems
seems
to
to be the same as
the
it's
way
always
they
been,
like
but
it.
that's the way Holy is. I mean, that's not a lot of change to it.
Disc priest, however.
Yes.
They've changed this priest to healing solely through atonement, through damage.
Yeah,
So
totally.
they've buffed up atonement a lot, what it sounds like, and they've changed the way it works some, I imagine, to be that is the only healing that they do is through atonement. All their healing is damage-based healing, which is pretty awesome.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. Except for those moments when you have like a lull where you just killed an ad and you need to heal people up in between something else happening.
Yeah.
And you can't.
And you can't.
Yeah.
So I think it's
That's
going
what
to be.
that's what I got powered shields for like start the next fight or whatever.
We'll see how
You
much
know.
they continue to support shields.
Well, they said power shield is still going to be a thing.
They said it's still going to be there.
Yeah.
Like how much of a
Well, I
thing
think-
it's going to be.
I think
it can
because-
still be there and then just go, yeah, but that's not what you do anymore.
Because shielding and atonement is always what they've done. And I didn't think it
Up
didn't
till now.
sound like they were taking away power word shield.
It didn't.
But-
They didn't say really anything. They didn't say they were keeping it, or they just said it's going to be there. How much they focus on it now, who knows?
Who knows?
Hopefully they'll leave it in. I really like shielding, so
Yeah.
The other thing that was really cool about that we learned about priests now is where they get their power from.
Yeah, for the shadow.
For the
Priest.
shadow priests,
Yeah.
they get it from insanity, so they directly tap into the old gods. Like they did a lore change.
Yeah.
yeah.
So-
Retcon. It's one of my favorite retcons though ever.
Yeah.
Like because they said shadow priests were very nebulous in what they
Yeah,
what
they
they were
had
doing.
a variety of different powers. They have like vampiric embrace, which does healing through damage sort of thing, and they have like the shadow orbs and the
Well,
some mind damage and some shadow damage, and it was like weird.
we had a very clear idea of where the light came from,
Yeah,
which were like beings like the Naru.
yeah.
And very clearly where the light, we know where the light comes from, but it was very like where's the dark come from? Who knows? It wasn't fel magic. That was
Yeah.
always like
Warlock.
yeah,
Warlocks.
that was a warlock thing. So we knew it wasn't a fel thing. But yeah, now we know the old gods.
The old
Yeah.
gods.
That's cool as shit.
Which is also interesting because shadow priests now get insanity as one of the things where they
Right,
increasingly
as
do
their
more
secondary,
damage.
as their secondary, fuel
So-
mechanic or whatever.
They can't be insane forever, but it increases. Like every time you damage or whatever, it like
Right,
you build up
build up
insanity?
insanity,
Yeah,
and,
okay.
and the more insanity you get, the darker your character, the darker your shadow form gets, and they say you'll start growing tentacles and stuff like that.
yeah, you
like,
start going full.
it'll be very obvious when your insanity is high or whatever. And then but it also quickly drains away.
Yeah, it spikes and you just do insane damage and then
Well,
it
it's
goes
up,
away.
right, and then it goes away.
And you gotta build back up.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. I can't wait to see that in action.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited for Shadow. I've always liked the priest class. I really like discipline. I never liked holy, but I really like discipline and I really like shadow. And so I'm really excited for these changes for that reason. Because they were both kind of like meh, thematic like meh, what did discipline priest do?
Disc Priest was really good in like
Wrath?
Wrath, the Lich King.
Wrath.
That was its really like its heyday. Because before that, it was sort of like you put points into discipline, like you spec holy or shadow and put your extra point into
And
discipline.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it sort of like topped everything off, but it wasn't really a tree you could spec into by itself until Wrath.
Yeah.
And then Wrath was pretty good, and they kept trying to like make it. But they added Atonement then in Cataclysm or whatever.
Something like that.
So, and toned down the overall overpower shielding that disc was in Wrath. Because your shields were just OP as crap in Wrath.
They messed with subtlety rogues. They brought the subtlety rogue back.
Yeah, they talked a little bit about, again, thematically, these changes are very much driven by the theme of the spec.
Right, the spec.
So they talked a lot about how, like, subtlety rogues didn't feel that unique because they were stabby rogues like the assassination tree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so after you opened up, that was that.
Yeah.
You were just a stabby rogue with
Yeah.
like the assassination tree or combat tree even, but you weren't as good as they were.
Right. And so they wanted to bring back that really cool feeling of like the rogues being like ninjas and like warping around shadow to shadow and just stabbing people.
Yeah. So they made it so it can hit across the map.
Yeah.
Like your shadow step can hit across the map.
Well, they were talking about.
We're losing battery.
Are we? Okay, we'll have to wrap it up then. But
Part 1.
Part 1, yeah, we'll have a part 2. But one of the things they were talking about is like you can like step to somebody, use an ability, then step to somebody else, which you do a finisher that like refills your ability to step to somebody else, and you can just keep jumping back and forth between people and just
Shadow Dance is a pass of 20% to re-enter your opening spells.
That's what it was. Yeah.
So
very cool.
Yeah.
Yes,
Very
is
cool.
super good. Demonology Warlock also, they took away Metamorphosis and just added more exciting and more different pets. Like rather than just like having a slightly buffed up version of the other pets, they now will have like I believe it's more, maybe even 3 or 4 choices per level of
They're
pet. Like
basically like the
succubus style or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Well, they were talking about sending out like multiple pets. He mentioned that as well. Didn't go into it, but he mentioned that as well. So yeah, it's really going to focus on being a warlock of pets. So I'm hoping we'll see like multiple pets, which would be awesome.
Let's try to go through class changes real quick. We got Guardian Druid. That's talking about no more going to be a dodge machine. Going to be all about the like how a bear really should be. Just a giant slab of muscle and armor between you and the bad guys.
So you're going to be able to take a lot more hits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Deal heavy
instead
damage.
of like the Dancy Bear, which always felt bad.
The circus bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to see it back to like the days it was before.
Yeah, where you were
before Mist, really, where they totally freaked out being a bear druid.
You were a sponge for a while, and that was also bad.
Right, but being a sponge is fine if they make you a good sponge.
Yeah.
If they give
which
you
is
a
what
lot
it
more
sounds like they're
HPs,
going to do.
And they give you a lot more armor, and they give you something to deal with magical damage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then you're fine. You know what I mean?
Last one is, well, we kind of want to argue went over it. Shadow Priests, the power of the old gods. Insanity is a new resource. Void form, more powerful the longer they stay in the insanity. So, which we already touched on that.
Yeah. They're changing the talents a lot. There are no more theme rows because before, like, I think everybody's third row down was basically a movement talent of some sort. You had 3 different versions of a quicker movement speed of some sort. Like for Priest, you had like when you power shield, you get 25% movement speed for 5 seconds, or you put the little feathers down, or you do something else like you take a sweet burst of speed or whatever. They're gonna get rid of those kind of rows.
I like
Move those things around.
I like that a lot. The biggest reason why is because I hated the fact that I was like, man, there's a couple times where I want both of these abilities because maybe I want to make like a movement based sort of like PvP spec,
right?
But now I can't because
you can't.
It's all in one row.
Right.
I understand the need to like want to choose between abilities, right? Because they're all pretty good, but that's not what you were giving me. What you were giving me was like, now I can't build out a specific way
Yeah.
because I wanted more mobility.
Well, and Priest had another, like, a little later on where you basically had, like, an AE type heal / damage ability. Where, like, you had, like, the little ring that you fired out that was, like, expanded super big,
expanded.
or you had, like, the little bolt that you fired in an area and hit everyone, or whatever, or you had the bouncy one, the different things. But it's basically the same ability, just slightly different variations of each one or whatever. Well, now maybe you can get both of them if you want, something like that. So, got rid of the theme roast. They said they added, and I quote, hundreds of new talents.
Where are they fitting those?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, even if they took away all the talents they had now, threw them out.
They said it was going to be the way it is now.
Right.
Like, it's
So you have
just
three rows.
three
rows
and
of
then
like, it's 3x7, right?
something like that. Yeah, 3 choices per row.
So even if it's 21 per class, and they did a different one for every spec,
Maybe
right?
they'll be giving us more talents in general. That would be good because I hated the new like every 15 levels you get. I'm like 15 levels.
He said it wasn't changing though, but maybe it is. Maybe they are changing. Maybe they're adding more talents in general. I don't know.
Yeah.
They said hundreds of new talents, literally hundreds of new talents. Exactly what he like. Literally hundreds of new talents is a direct quote.
Yeah.
So
He did also.
We'll see.
They specify that they will have a full explanation of the changes in their blogs to come in the future.
Yes,
Yeah, the
they're
next
releasing
few
a
days,
series
yeah.
of blogs.
Actually, the first one might be up. I should take a look at
It
that.
should be.
Yeah.
So, at that, we're going to go ahead and end part 1.
Right, when we come back next time, we'll talk about the new zones, the new leveling, the changes to dungeons and 5-mans,
Yeah.
and
Plenty of other stuff.
yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
ton of other stuff.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, check us out at Facebook at Random Subject Generator, at on the interwebs at rsgpodcast.com, and at Twitter at rsgpodcast. And leave a like and a comment and subscribe. And thank you. Have a good night, bitches.
You should definitely look at the Twitter. Blizzard retweeted us. We're big dogs.
Yeah, we got retweeted by
People listen to us. People care about us.
People care about our opinion about things, man.
We're smart.